You're listening to a Roddenberry Podcast.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. We'll have more news this evening, but first...
The latest Gene-ology, a Roddenberry Podcast.
Episode 83, the Mr. D.A. Replay, Part 2. Welcome to Mission Log Gene-ology. I'm Ashley Thomas.
And I'm Earl Green. Each week on Gene-ology, we pull scripts and shows out of the Roddenberry archive, examining Gene Roddenberry's TV writing in the years leading up to the creation of Star Trek. Was he planting morals, meanings, and messages for the audience to find in his work back when he was doing cop shows and westerns?
Today, we're concluding our rewatch. Well, really our first watch of Mr. District Attorney, the first series to which Gene sold scripts. We've read the scripts before, but seeing them on film is quite different. Now, before we dive back into the Mr. D.A. docket, let me take a brief moment to encourage you to join our Patreon or follow us on YouTube or leave us a review wherever you're listening to us. And, 5 stars, please, and thank you. Do all the above.
Patreon is your gateway to all things Mission Log, including exclusive access to the unedited version of our show and our private Discord where you can interact with us, your hosts, during scheduled live chats, along with occasional screenings. You can access all this for just $1 a month, so head over to patreon.com/missionlog to see what tier works for you and join the conversation.
By the way, folks, as I said, those 5-star reviews really help our show more than you possibly could know. Even if you can't come up with the words for a written review, a 5-star rating really does go a long way to tell the algorithm that you really love hanging out with Earl and me, and you think other people might like to hang out with us too. We are counting on our loyal genealogists to help us spread the word. And now, this week's trivia. Earl, have you prepared your case for this week's trivia?
Well, we don't have a lot of trivia in this segment because it will be attached to each episode as we go through, because we are watching 3 shows. Kind of for the first time. We've read the scripts before, but now we're seeing the shows. And of course, that is happening thanks to the archives of the Wisconsin Center for Film and Theater Research at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, which has preserved these works and many others from Ziv Television for future generations, and bless them for that.
Yeah, goodness
They're doing
gracious.
amazing work there.
Yeah, seriously, thank you.
Gene wrote 6 scripts in total for Mr. District Attorney, and in this show we are covering episodes that we covered in script form way back in podcasts number 4 through 6. But getting to see them, and in some cases see who is in them, is eye-opening.
Yeah.
We're seeing what the cast and the director and what everyone who wasn't the writer added to Gene's work, bringing it to life. As with last week, Gene himself gets a word in here. Our brief recaps were written by the man himself, as each script contained a brief story summary.
Court escape. Paul Garrett, district attorney, has succeeded in convicting the state gangland boss of criminal conspiracy. But crime syndicate leaders determined to keep him out of prison plan a rescue. They effect a sensational raid into Superior Court, snatching Garrett's conviction from under his nose. Garrett and the police fight the clock to recapture the boss before he can escape a central police cordon in the evening commuter rush. They discover his clever hiding place and recapture him with only seconds to spare. So tell me your thoughts about Court Escape, Earl.
I thought it was interesting to actually see Mr. District Attorney do some district attorneying.
How about that? Because he's basically operated like a police detective in all the ones that we've seen thus far.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's a cop without portfolio.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the opening narration of Law and Order, which, talks about the 2 equally important branches of the legal system.
Mm.
It's like, never mind that. Mr. District Attorney is all the branches, man. He's the whole tree.
Right.
I was very happy to see him actually trying a case and not being a glorified police officer.
I thought that was really interesting. One of the things I observed in this is, these guys are rolling in with snazzy suits and snazzy hats. But gosh, that nice shade of green, I don't feel like that's particularly inconspicuous.
Yeah, I have lots of thoughts about costuming.
Yeah.
Cars.
Yeah, same.
And I mean, the cars I could look at all day. I'm not even a car guy.
I'm not either. And I was like, man, those cars look really cool. They're really slick.
Yeah, I getting to see them in color, no less. That's kind of amazing.
A green car to match your green suit and hat.
These guys walking around in their trench coats, they're just being patently suspicious.
They are. And like, goodness gracious, like, you got 800 guns shoved in there. I mean, obviously no metal detectors going in, but man, can't do that now.
I don't think they'd even get into the building now, never mind getting to the metal detector.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, these guys are like, they're going to break out Morpheus from the 8th floor.
Right, seriously.
And I thought it was funny that, they found a nice corner with enough privacy. Oh, we're not doing anything suspicious, covers face completely.
Right. Let's take this, quarter of a bed sheet. Jeez Louise.
It's it's almost comical.
Right.
And it doesn't help that the actors playing the conspirators, there's kind of a mismatch.
Yeah.
With them, because you have the henchman being kind of cartoony.
Right.
But the guy who is the boss of the operation, he is doing this very measured performance. Like, he is working for the people at the top of the org chart, not the people down at the bottom. It's like he shouldn't even be here. I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
Right. These are
busting guys out of Superior Court.
These are some low-level henchgoons.
Yeah. We're going to study these floor plans until you see them in your sleep. Cut to absolutely nobody getting any sleep.
That was a interesting bit of plot point.
Did you notice that they cut from the floor plan, they point out, okay, this is where the DA sits, and dissolve to Mr. DA sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very clever. It's like, okay, we're doing something a little clever there in the editing room. Mm-hmm. That same scene where they're obsessing over the floor plan, I just kept waiting for someone to say, here's the judge, here's the jury box, here's the church, here's the steeple, open it up, go to sleeple.
It's like, there's the people? No, go to sleeple. Oh, gosh. I caught a mention of a bunco artist, Earl. It made me happy thinking about the bunco squad again.
Yeah, all about the bunco squad.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Riker has 6 cases sitting in his inbox. Get that guy some underlings.
Yeah, seriously, he needs some henchgoons.
Yes.
Of the whatever the police variety of those are. Oh, man. I know a part of the plot point, Earl, was that they identified the guy because of the star tattoo on his hand. That guy is not wearing gloves. The other dude in there is. Guy without gloves lays his hand on, like, the gate in between the audience of the courtroom and the lawyers and opens with his hand. I was like, bro, you are leaving fingerprints, but it don't matter because you got a star tattoo. And there's a thing.
Like they point out whenever they finally identify him when they're sitting in the car going through all these files. He's not smart. He couldn't have planned this.
Yeah. Like this guy is he is a low level henchgoon for sure. The other thing that I noticed in this, you kind of get the internal monologue from Mr. District Attorney, where he says,
it's very loud internal monologue.
It is. I mean, I hope like the whole courtroom couldn't hear, but he's like, can't do anything except stay calm and try to get a lock on the identities, like what do they look like, take in those details. And so I wrote in my notes, identify and dissociate, Mr. District Attorney. It's basically what you're having to do in this scenario. It'd
be funny if his internal monologue just started singing Kokomo to keep himself calm.
Right. Oh dear. Yeah. That would have been really funny, actually. Depending on when this aired in 1954, the year's most popular songs were Little Things Mean a Lot by Kitty Callan, Wanted by Perry Como, Hey There by Rosemary Clooney, Shaboom by the Crew Cuts, and Mr. Sandman, Bring Me a Dream.
There we go.
That was in December of 1954 was when that was popular. Anyway.
One thing I've got to go off on.
Yeah, please.
Okay, and this is a rabbit hole. I apologize in advance.
I mean, I think our listeners are used to our rabbit holes at this point, Earl.
Yes. Mocked up newspapers and magazines in TV and movies.
Oh, would you like the soapbox?
I'm not even sure it's worth the soapbox. This is such a minor thing.
Okay.
But I have laid out print publications before, both in the digital era and way back when the cut and paste was a literal thing that you did.
Yep.
It seems like most TV and movie newspapers are put together by some well-meaning graphic designer who has never set foot near a print periodical in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now we are getting into an era where you could have some young graphic designer who literally has not seen a newspaper or magazine.
Yep.
Because the paper periodical is supposedly on its way out. There were like weird font changes that should not have happened on the front cover of that newspaper that we focus in on for some reason. We focus in on it long enough that I spotted the words New York across the top of the masthead. It's like, wait a minute, this is in L.A.
That means that was probably left over from,
something else.
And got, slapped together for make it Mr. District Attorney. And nobody bothered to change the location.
Well, okay, so the flip side of this, I'm going to devil's advocate myself.
Okay.
The resolution of black and white TV in 1954 was probably not good enough to spot this stuff. This was shot on 35 millimeter film, which was digitally scanned for us to watch at HD resolution. Yep. So I'm pretty sure no one spotted this stuff back then. No one has looked at this show the way we are looking at it.
Right.
But it still just bothers me. And like I said, we are now getting to a point where you're going to have college-educated graphic designers who are young enough, they've never actually seen a newspaper. It's just going to be a thing that shows up in period piece movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best practices rules of print layout are literally going to be forgotten. They're going to pass out of living memory.
Wow.
Which, that's a sad thing that should not happen.
Yeah.
Probably not as sad as me noticing all this.
It's one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's, if I had noticed it, it would have been a thing that bugged me too. So there's that. And gosh, print media, it's important because once it's printed, you can at least see, no, that's actually what got printed.
Yeah.
Versus digitally, like, you don't always know when somebody went back to edit something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, again, Strange New World, Season 3, Episode 6, when they go into Pelia's room and she has all this retro tech and relics from the 20th century. Yeah, if I somehow magically discover I am Lanthanite, that will be my room too. Anyway.
Okay, so Norman and I were so fascinated learning that elevator strutter was a job description that actual people held.
Yeah.
But there was a further surprise here actually watching this.
Mm-hmm.
What was that handheld device he was carrying that clicked loudly?
Is it a remote control for the elevator? Because
I wondered that because I think you had I don't know if they were available at the consumer level, but I think, at least in labs, they were working on like ultrasonic remote controls. So, probably about 10 years later, your Zenith Space Command remotes, those were ultrasonic. So I wonder if it was something like that, or is it just something loud to signal the elevator operators, who for the most part we did not see because they didn't want to hire that many extras.
Right.
And so it just looks like this guy's going around clicking into the open elevator doors. What's he doing?
Yeah. I remember, I went back and listened to y'all's coverage of these episodes this week. And, I have seen, you see older films or films or TV set in a particular time period where you see somebody is physically standing in the elevator, operating the elevator. And so that's what I had assumed was going on when you guys were talking about elevator starters. But I never would have imagined like a guy with like what appears to be a remote control for the elevator.
Maybe it's just a stapler that he borrowed from one of the offices. It's his fidget spinner.
Hey, maybe so.
I went down this rabbit hole for about an hour trying to figure out what that was and came up empty. Because that's a job that doesn't exist anymore. I wondered if maybe it's just a noise for the operators to hear rather than saying, okay, you can go now, because the people in the elevators will be talking amongst themselves. So you need something that's not a vocal, verbal noise.
Maybe.
So I wondered if it was just that, and it's just the visual cue of him like, click, click, beep, beep. That's Earth humor.
Click, click, elevator go up. Click once, elevator go down.
Like I said, that just brought me up short because, like, wait, there was nothing about this in the script.
Right.
What is this clicking thing? What is this fresh clicking hell? I laughed out loud for like 2 minutes. Garrett picks up the phone. They're in one of the conspirators' apartment, I guess, looking for evidence. Picks up the phone. Operator, get me the telephone company. I just kept thinking like Lily Tomlin's switchboard operator character at the other end of that call. Yes, sir, that's actually where I work. I am the telephone company. I'm right here, sir. Things you think about when you're watching this stuff again.
Yeah.
What did you think of the pacing of this episode?
It was okay for me. Pacing is not usually a thing I'm particularly bothered by unless something is dead slow.
Well, because we were doing all this 50s crime lab detection gumshoe stuff. And then we cut to dude on the observation deck looking worried.
Like
on the observation?
Out. Yeah.
You have to go to the bathroom or something?
I thought about that. I was like, did they bring him a snack? Like, did he have to go find a corner to pee in, or did he pee off the top of the building?
Yeah, that's what it's like. Hey, it's an open rail right there. It's just like...
well, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Hope it's not number 2.
No, you do that in the potted plant in the corner.
Right. Good luck. Oh, geez Louise. Oh, man. But no.
No one noticed that this one guy was just sitting there for 5 hours.
What?
I mean...
Yeah, like, would other people have come up to the observation deck for any particular reason?
Sir, the only thing I'm observing is you.
So, yeah, maybe if he's just, like, hanging out, whatevs, but I had questions.
Yeah, because they keep cutting to him, and that just hits the brakes on everything, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now I understand why 24 did things the way it did with split screens. I mean, we could have just had this guy pacing around on the observation board for 15 minutes. I guess that would be weird too. Yeah. But every time they brought him up there, it's just like, okay, can we, okay, yes, he's still up there. Can we get back to the crime?
Yeah, that was confusing, to say the least.
When they finally find where these guys are, and they have the cops there ready to knock the door down, what the hell is that Lieutenant Riker is doing? Because it's like, let me in. I'm Charlie Brown's teacher.
Right.
So he's knocking at the door. Wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
wah.
I mean, I had the exact same thing in my notes. Like, can you really enter a home like that without identifying yourself? Like, legally?
I don't think that's in the handbook.
Yeah, it just like, I'm like, who? Who's there? Bam! And then they, I mean, it happens off camera, but they rush in and just start shooting. I mean, it's the Danny DeVito meme. So then I started shoot. Like,
I just went in and started blasting.
yeah, like, I mean, goodness gracious. What is it with these guys?
And once they get these guys cornered, the two guys they didn't shoot,
right?
They shot one of them.
Yeah, he's just laying face down. It was like, bro,
call in an ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
you just done killed him. Jeez Louise.
And then these guys are sitting there with kind of like their arms. It's not like their arms are crossed, but it's like they're doing the sarcophagus thing with their arms. It's like, why are they not putting their hands up? What are the cops doing here?
Well, and you would think that these guys would be trying to escape or like have their guns on them or something. You would have expected it to be a little more action-packed, but I guess, mumbled their way through the door, and then I just started blasting. It was almost comical if it wasn't so disconcerting.
Okay, I just brought up the script to look at it.
All right.
Riker knocks. Inside voice, which is Wick. Yeah? Riker looks at Garrett, puts handkerchief to mouth, mumbles something unintelligible. That's in the script.
Well, they got it. Unintelligible.
Yeah, the guy playing Lieutenant Riker definitely understood the assignment.
Goodness gracious.
Just be Charlie Brown's teacher. Let me in. Mm-hmm. I'm Charlie Brown's teacher.
And we're still like a decade or so off from the very first Peanuts special. So I don't even know that would have been a thing in the common parlance that you could have written into the script. Riker does his best, Charlie Brown's teacher.
He definitely did a good job of mumbling unintelligibly. Mm-hmm. Also, this last line, when they've gone up to the observation floor and they've got Munson, mm-hmm. It's so cheesy, but David Bryan delivers so well. Where you're going, they don't count in minutes; they count in years.
Dun dun dun.
That almost sells everything that happened before this. Where I was wondering, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Lieutenant Riker's car or perhaps Mr. District Attorney's car. I'm unclear about whose car it actually was. There was a phone in it? Just rings in the middle?
Who do people think you are, Shannon?
I thought the same thing. It was like, wait a minute, was Shannon Scream Gems or was it Ziv? And I don't remember.
Shannon was Screen Gems.
I was about to say, oh man, is this the Shannon Mobile? But no, it was not. But yeah, seriously, I was like, how does this work in 1954?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because that one is more of a modern handset.
Right.
Whereas the phone in Dude's apartment is that box on the wall that you have to scream into.
Yep.
Since these shows are tucked away in a vault, these credits do not appear on IMDb. And the actors' names appear in the credits, but their character names do not. And so we are left with going to IMDb, pulling up the actor's name. Oh, is that what this guy looked like? Okay, then that's probably him. So I understand there is a margin of error here.
Right.
Whereas most of the trivia I try to get right. It looks like Trey, the mastermind behind the scheme to grab Munson right out of the courtroom, is played by Don C. Harvey. Now, he was a major talent in the days of old-time radio. Now, that is an area where Ziv was a major player before television came along. So it makes sense that they would know of him, and they would have him on whatever the 50s equivalent of a speed dial was to bring him in for stuff like this.
Right.
But once it came to the age of TV, he was absolutely a frequent flyer with Ziv, because he also showed up in Highway Patrol, I Led 3 Lives, World of Giants, Harbor Command, and Bat Masterson. One of the henchmen was played by George Beckwar, who is another Ziv regular, with guest appearances on Sea Hunt, Science Fiction Theater, Dr. Christian, and of course Highway Patrol. But George's biggest claim to fame may be making Ed Wood mad at him after filing a complaint about the on-set working conditions during the making of Bride of the Monster.
Oh, dear.
It's like, dude, you went and pissed off Ed Wood.
Oh, my.
You'll never work in this town again until you get to the Ziv lot, then you'll work a lot.
Right. Yeah, you stay pretty busy over there.
Yeah, once Ed Wood has frozen you out of the business, yeah, Fred Ziv's always got your ticket.
There you go.
Patrol boat. A load of highly valuable cargo is hijacked from a merchant ship docked in the harbor. During the getaway, the criminals' boat is damaged, forcing them to remain in the harbor for repair. The hot cargo is hidden in a warehouse owned by one of the conspirators, a near-bankrupt import-export businessman. The extreme danger of the crime to the economy of the harbor draws Paul Garrett into the case. Garrett and Lieutenant Riker begin running the criminals down. Their investigation leads them to the right place, but as they close in, a clash between the conspirators results in one of them making off in the boat, taking his partner's wife as hostage. An exciting chase by the police patrol boat ensues. The criminal's boat is bottled up in harbor slip. He tries to make his way ashore with his hostage, but is captured in a flurry of action.
Tell me your thoughts, Earl, because I mentioned it I don't remember if it made it into the VAM or not, but when I went back and listened to yours and Norman's coverage of these episodes, Patrol Boat was the one that fascinated me the most, and I was not disappointed by what I saw.
I wasn't either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the production said, hey, we're going to need a bigger boat right after the opening titles, because that's an awfully big boat in that opening shot.
That's a heckin' big boat.
Now, here's the thing. I tried to put myself in the mindset of a small-town, landlocked Midwestern kid watching TV in 1954 or 55.
Mm.
And what would a kid like that have thought upon seeing this? You're showing them a world they know nothing about.
Yeah.
Also a world of violence that they know nothing about, because for 1954, when that guy on the dock gets knocked out, it looks like the guy hits him with a cudgel on top of the head. It throws up dust off of his cap.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that was a real hit.
Yeah.
You know this is supposed to be a stunt, right?
Kabang. I mean, I've got thoughts about some of the other stuff within that scene, but yeah, gosh.
Yeah, somebody showed up on location and chose violence. Now, I'm sure maybe the cudgel was not a real cudgel and was filled with stuff that would make it look like dust.
Right.
That was quite something. It's like, whoa, I thought we were squeamish about violence at this point in TV, and no, we just clocked a guy and it looks like a real hit.
You know what didn't look all that real to me, though, Earl?
What's that?
Watching the guys load up the cargo. Those are some pretty big boxes, and man, they're just throwing them around like they empty, like, I don't know, empty cardboard.
Well, they're full of styrofoam rocks that you throw at the Gorn.
Oh, of course. That makes so much more sense. Thank you for clarifying. I'm like, either bro is super duper strong, or those boxes really, really light, because he's just like, whoop.
They had their spinach this morning, those sailors did.
Indeed. They're throwing them like Donkey Kong throwing a barrel.
Yeah. And do you know why you noticed that? It's because we stayed on them loading those boxes for a very long time.
Yeah. And you know, and there's no dialogue there, really. Don't watch this with your phone in your hand, or you're going to miss great stuff like dust flying off the guy's hat and them tossing boxes through the air like they're light as a feather.
You can't be second screening in 54. I mean, what does that even look like? It's like you're holding the whole phone while you're watching TV.
Right. There's no screen on the phone.
Why am I doing this?
Yes, exactly. It's like trying to read a book and watch TV. I guess that was like the closest
thing. Read the newspaper.
Right.
Read the newspaper from the previous episode.
Right. New York, but also Los Angeles.
I remember when we were reading the script, I thought it was funny. I think we both thought it was funny how specific Gene's references were to specific marine locations in and around L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was a subject he was super familiar with, super excited about. I'm going to build a whole script around this. The location filming on this is outstanding.
Yeah. I was really surprised that we got everything that he asked for pretty much in the script.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about putting money on the screen. I mean, the other two shows that we watched are a series of offices and courtrooms and more offices and maybe hospital rooms.
Mm-hmm.
This one gets out and goes places.
Yeah, it does. I was really impressed with that.
I didn't know if this would actually make it onto the screen from the script. I remember it was something we spotted in the script. Garrett's still talking about the Macaulay case. That was defense playing gambling.
Wow, yeah.
But Gene's referring to his own stuff here.
Hey, yeah, it's like, if you like this one, look for this one in reruns, folks.
You can't get on Star Trek for all the Easter eggs. It's it's a feature, not a bug. Gene's been doing this since, like, script number 5.
Right. What worked the best for me with this script, again, is the gal playing Paula, Angie Dickinson.
Not quite as good as Angie Dickinson.
Mm.
And we'll come back to that when we talk about the actors who were in this. Mm-hmm. This one, I was actually reasonably able to line somebody up. Okay, our ship captain. This guy is the Roger Corby of 1954 because he is Scottish 75% of the time and Irish the remaining 25%.
Yeah. I don't always have a great ear for that sort of thing, but yeah, that was that accent. It was jumping about.
Yeah. Now I had a harder time matching up the actor's name to that character, mm-hmm. But if it is the one I think it is, dude's actually from Australia.
Oh, of course.
And retired in Canada.
Let's just see how many more countries we can tack on here.
So that made it even funnier. It's like, I bet that's the guy, but I don't know for sure.
Mm.
But yeah, that was, and they're dealing with imports because Garrett's counting up the losses in pound sterling.
Sure.
That part of it does track.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's accent was all over the map. It was on more of the map than the harbor was.
That is the truth. What else you got, Earl?
More acts of violence?
There was a punch thrown in this.
Well, and then when Thorson shoots Higgins at the end, the script said it was a shoulder hit.
Mm-hmm.
The actor acted like he took a gut shot, and I was like, oh no, because that was from a distance of maybe 5 inches away.
Yeah.
And yet somehow he hit his shoulder, but he went down like it was a gut shot, and I was, okay. Well, yeah, that's how it looks when anyone gets shot. It's just, wow.
Well, the other thing too, like, you never see any blood or a bullet wound, and granted, it's 1954. You're maybe not going to see so much of that on TV.
Yeah, but he doubled over really well.
Yeah, he sure did. Well, in the when the dude takes Paula hostage, and he tries to push back at him, he lands a really good gut punch, and he just hits the ground and doubles over. I'm like, did he hit you? It doesn't feel good to take a punch to the gut, but did he knock the wind out of you? Or did he somehow manage to just knock you out with that one punch? It wasn't anywhere near your noggin.
There were some some choices made there. Now, I do have some, like I said, I was able to reasonably match up performers to names to photos. So, as Thorson, the guy who's doing all the plotting and scheming, I believe this was played by John Cliff.
Okay.
Now, once again, I think this is someone who should have his own parking space in the Ziv parking lot. He has shown up in I Led 3 Lives, Cisco Kid, Bat Masterson, and Men into Space. He played heavies a lot. By the time William Phipps appeared as Mr. Higgins, he had already been in George Powell's War of the Worlds.
Oh, wow.
He was in Invaders from Mars, and he was also in Cat Women of the Moon. So there's kind of a theme going here. But where you really know William Phipps from is he's the voice of Prince Charming from Disney's Cinderella in 1950.
Wow.
Animation voiced royalty. And then at the other end of his career, he was one of the minor regulars in the very weirdly short-lived Vincent Price time travel show Time Express.
Okay.
And I will say something that we say around the office a lot. There's a sci-fi vibe for that. Go look it up. Of course, as you already noted, Paula steals the show because this is Angie Dickinson. This is policewoman Angie Dickinson. This is Rio Bravo Angie Dickinson. She was in her early to mid-20s here. So on Mr. DA, we're getting baby Angie Dickinson. Now, she will work with Gene again. She will be much further up the call sheet next time because she is one of the stars of a painfully 70s movie that Gene wrote and produced called Pretty Maids All in a Row. I think she was right below Rock Hudson on the call sheet, so obviously much higher stature the next time she and Gene crossed paths. We will talk about that movie another time. Yeah, I had lots of thoughts on this one. I really liked this one.
I did too. Of the 3 we've watched, spoiler alert, this one's my favorite.
Somewhere between Angie Dickinson and the location filming, it's a real standout. The other shows, going back and watching everything again and again, take notes on the actors' names this time. It really sticks out rewatching these 3 a second time. It's like, okay, this one actually gets out of the office. Cool. And that leaves us with one final episode, and it's an incident of police brutality. This was Gene's last script for Mr. DA.
A police officer is assaulted by criminals as he attempts to question them. In self-defense, he kills one of them. The criminals fabricate a story of police brutality, charging the officer with deliberate and cold-blooded murder. The officer is unable to substantiate his story, and Paul Garrett, the district attorney, is forced by the weight of evidence to file charges against the officer. The investigation of the case turns up cleverly fabricated evidence of the officer's guilt. Public hysteria against police brutality is deliberately inflamed by the criminals in order to discredit and demoralize the police. The last chance to frame the officer fails when a mistake by the criminal leader reveals the officer's innocence. I've got some thoughts on this one, Earl, but I'd love to hear from you. Script to screen. What are your thoughts about this?
Okay, well, just reading that synopsis, and keep in mind, the synopses were not something we messed with when we covered the scripts. But rereading that synopsis now, Paul Garrett, the district attorney, it's like, you're handing this to the producers, Gene. I think they know.
Yeah. I mean, was there a minimum word count on there? No.
I was kind of sad that we are back in black and white TV.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing after the other colored episodes.
Especially when you're watching this right after Patrol Boat shows you the entire LA harbor area in color.
Yeah.
And now we're in offices. And, well, I mean, there was that opening scene with the traffic stop.
Yeah, which, if I remember correctly, was, according to the script, Gene wanted it shot at night and looked like broad daylight to me.
Yeah, well, the unions charge extra for having people out at night. Now, you could do day for night shooting.
Sure.
But I am guessing that the first thing the producers did when they got the script was exterior, intersection, night. They crossed out the word night. It's like, okay,
yeah,
that's the first thing we're not doing.
Right.
Now, the guy who played Mr. Deed, who is this week's criminal mastermind, it's way too early for this because Twilight Zone is not going to happen until 1959. The guy sounds like he's impersonating Rod Serling every time he opens his mouth.
Gosh, you're right. And I didn't even think about that when I was watching it. Now I can't. Now I have to go watch it again and be all like, submit it for your approval.
Yeah, it just felt like any second he was going to tell his underlings, no tactics could keep a man from wandering into the Twilight Zone. The hospital scenes, two things came to mind there. They had people stuffed in that hospital ward like sardines.
Oh, yeah.
It's very triggering, I guess, in a post-COVID world, but
sure.
Also in an I like my own space world. And no, do not like. Also, too bad they couldn't have bumped into Dr. Christian making the rounds at the hospital.
That would have been a nice little crossover. Be like, oh, excuse me, Dr. Christian.
They don't do these all-star crossovers because we're not paying you for 2 shows in 1 week.
No.
The fact that Richards is driving a police beat solo in a patrol car. Okay, keep this in the back of your head. It's going to come back later because this is an outdated point of police procedure that Gene's going to work into a future script for an anthology show called G.E. True. File that one away because we'll be getting to that one soon-ish.
Okay.
I did like the guy playing Richards, especially in the hospital scenes.
Yeah, I did too. I thought he was good.
That scene really needed a bit of fire, and he knew when to bring it. They had obviously put his fire out by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a problem here. Once again, pacing. It just plods. This one was dull.
Yeah, it did take them a while to get things figured out. I will say, I think the actor playing the injured officer was really good. But man, Earl, I got really agitated watching him lie there in that hospital bed and tell Mr. District Attorney, but I'm a police officer. I'm like, oh, is this how we're going to go here? I love that he had him say, I am an attorney. I have to abide by the evidence, not personal feelings. I'm like, oh, good. Thank you. I mean, he does tack on the phrase, but I've never prosecuted someone I believe to be innocent. Is he, like, revealing his hand? I believe you're innocent, though the evidence is telling me otherwise. I had some questions about how this was handled.
Yeah, that's how you could tell this is a period piece, Ashley, because people actually stuck to the letter of the law, unlike now.
Yeah. Earl, one of the things that you and Norman discussed a little bit in passing in your previous coverage of this episode, misinformation versus disinformation, because that is a plot point here. Could you elaborate for our listeners, like the difference between those two words?
Misinformation is something that you don't know is wrong, but you keep repeating it, like you don't know any better. Disinformation is deliberate. And so what we are seeing here is disinformation.
Yeah.
That should be one of your 2025 vocabulary words, everyone.
It really should. It really should. I think it's kind of impressive when Gene is prescient, but also like, I would like you to not be this prescient, please and thank you.
This episode really seems like it's trying to put the procedure in police procedural. Eats up way too much screen time doing it, so that when we do get to the twist at the end, I do like the twist.
The twist is good.
I like the twist that we find out that Mr. Oh yes, I am a master of military tactics in the Twilight Zone. I like finding out that he has been making all this up.
Right.
And that it was probably, almost certainly, given his backstory that they reveal right there at the end, treated to a dishonorable discharge. But that whole thing just swings in out of nowhere at the last minute. It has the weird effect of making Mr. Deed's lies about his military record, all of a sudden that's the big issue and not, like, all the crime?
Yeah, I'm a bit confused by that.
You know, you can't charge him with that.
No.
He's just a jerk for doing that.
Yeah.
Crime? Evidence? Are we doing this? And also, they are bringing the police officer, who is the accused party, to the scene with them.
Yeah. That did not sit right with me. The other thing, too, is Riker says, well, I'm not going to handcuff you or whatever before we get in the car, like when they're going to go book him. Yes, you do have the statement of Mr. District Attorney saying, I have to abide by the evidence, not personal feelings, but we're still going to give this guy some preferential treatment because he's a cop.
Yeah.
No, thank you. If the evidence is presenting that he's guilty, then you need to handcuff him. Also, that's just what you're supposed to do, period.
Yeah, also, he is a police officer. Has he not been trained in, like, hand-to-hand fighting? I would think you would want to handcuff him.
Yeah.
Because he knows all the same stuff you guys know.
Yeah. There were things that really bugged me about this one. Also, did you notice that everyone's smoking?
Oh, yeah. Oh, just wait. There's an episode of The Lieutenant that we're going to cover where everyone is smoking in a hospital.
Yeah.
When we covered the script for this, there were so many ideas. It seemed like the seeds of really good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to have Gene be sneaking in some stuff about police work, police perception, the court of public opinion, and, fighting your battles in that venue, none of it really works its way into the episode.
Right.
And that's frustrating because I think we saw a lot of potential in the script. And so the execution of that script is either going to elevate the material or the opposite. Of course, the script has to be strong to begin with. And so it needs to be better than, this has a lot of potential. So this one really didn't work for me.
Nah, me either. I think you do have some good performances, but the way the subject matter is treated is disconcerting.
If you look at it through the lens of then, of course, the police are fine, upstanding citizens.
Right.
But that wasn't even really the case then. But it was not in the cultural conversation. It was not in the zeitgeist that maybe it was not so.
Right. At least not if you're... Right.
I couldn't really spot any major standout future star names in the guest actors on this one. In fact, it was just about impossible to match any of them up. Now, I think the actor playing Mr. Deed is Ralph Clanton. And he was a regular cast member of the early 70s soap opera Search for Tomorrow. But also had a lot of credits in kind of that golden era of early Playhouse anthology TV. Whether or not he spent that whole time laying the groundwork for Rod Serling's introductions on the Twilight Zone, I have no idea. I can't unhear it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ashley, so much Mr. District Attorney, so little time. What is your verdict? Which of these cases really drew your attention and had the most appeal, shall we say?
I would say not police brutality. I would say
not police brutality.
No, not
Good
that
choice.
Patrol Boat, I think, worked the best for me. I think really what made that episode was Angie Dickinson's performance as Paula. I thought that she had a very commanding presence.
Yes.
On screen, which, in 1954, not a lot of women get to do that on TV.
Well, that's just it. She's like the only woman we saw in any of these, wasn't she?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's good that Angie Dickinson gave this knockout, standout performance because all of the attention was hers to lose. She's the only woman who talked in any of these 3 shows.
Right. Yeah, I thought she was fantastic. She not only delivered just an awesome performance, she had so many great lines in that episode. She talked about loving her husband with the most difficult kind of love. And that, that's the kind of love that will tell you when you are making a bad decision, whether you want to hear it or not. I'm like, oh gosh, loved that she said it that way. And then reminding him that together we are a success. That's a partner right there. Whether, you are fortunate enough to have a spouse or a partner that's like that, or a best buddy that, if you're working on a project together, hey, this is going to be a success because we are doing this together. We're supporting each other. What a gift that woman is to him. And he is being an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got himself a ride or die, and she's about to ride on out of there. Yeah.
She's like, I love you. I really do, but I'm not going to support you if you aren't going to do this honestly, if you're getting into some illegal garbage. She's like, no, thank you.
That's quite a shock for 1954. It's like, oh, is she leaving the business for the day, or is she leaving the marriage for good?
Right. Is she going to go, call the cops on her husband? If you're not thinking about it, it's oh, snap, this is 1954. How far is she actually going to get to doing that? If she ends up divorcing him, that's so different then than it is now.
We don't show that kind of agency on TV.
Yeah. My goodness, she just knocked it out of the park. Easily, far and away, her performance is what made that the standout episode.
Her performance, all of the location work that just made it seem like, okay, things are happening because we're out of the office.
Right.
Here's the thing. On paper, I remembered liking Court Escape on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for it to become an absolute banger just any second. But instead, it was just kind of goofy.
It was a little silly.
Somewhere between the weird face masks and we're just going to put those on out here in the hallway in the courtroom.
Right. We're not even going to go hide in the bathroom. Goodness gracious.
It strained credibility.
Yeah. Also walking around like you're 3 owls in a trench coat, trying to hide all your guns. I'm like, good grief!
There's 3 of them, so it's a grand total of 9 owls in 3 trench coats.
Exactly, and somehow we've got room to strap a gun in.
Yeah,
maybe 2. Good
grief. The tall one is 3 owls and a honey badger.
Yeah.
Police brutality. Disappointing. It wasn't all that much on paper, but somehow they took something that wasn't all that on paper and made it even worse on film.
Yeah.
And so, not a fan there. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Patrol Boat is the runaway favorite.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think as far as messages? Because I don't feel like anything. Don't do crime, kids. I'm sure that's as much of a message as you could get across in these days, but.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like that's, for all of these Mr. District Attorney episodes is, crime doesn't pay. But I think the big one for me, came from Patrol Boat is, having enough care for somebody to tell them when they are doing something wrong or something that will be potentially harmful to them, and focusing on being honest no matter what happens and trying to act justly. I thought that was really cool, and it came through in a way that's not crime doesn't pay, kids.
Yeah, it came out of natural dialogue that seemed natural for that character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Paula can leave that boat dock behind and join Starfleet with those kind of standards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That will... Gosh, it's a shame that we didn't get her in Star Trek, right?
Outside of that, I feel like any messages Gene was trying to plant here got squished by the Ziv sausage press.
Yeah.
Because that was part of the sausage getting made.
Yeah, agree.
I was hoping we would have at least one knockout out of this batch.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to do this like a football bracket. Okay, so I think our favorites are Wife Killer and Patrol Boat.
Yep.
Which one do you think is the best out of those? Which is Gene's best Mr. District Attorney episode?
Ooh. Best in my opinion, or best as in that is the best example of Gene Roddenberry writing that points to a Star Trek-y type message?
They don't have to be mutually.
Fair.
I think you're a good judge of that.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
I think I'm still coming down on the side of Patrol Boat.
I think I might, too. And that's not a slight against Wife Killer, because Wife Killer was fantastic. Strong performances there. A very tangible example of this is what gaslighting looks like. Believe women when they say this person is abusing me. All really important stuff, but I think, like, if you want, like, the strong, like, moral meaning message, like, I think Patrol Boat comes down on it for me.
Yeah, it's somewhere between it being early days in Gene's writing career
mm-hmm.
and Ziv stamping out shows on an assembly line, basically.
Sure.
It's kind of difficult to find much here that jumps out and says this could only have been written by Gene Roddenberry, but there were signs, as the kids say.
Yeah. Special thanks again to our friends at the Wisconsin Center for Film and Theater Research at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, without whom this show simply would not have been possible. Gene-ology is meant to be entertaining and informative, but it's also just the beginning of an ongoing conversation about the works of Gene Roddenberry. Drop us a line at missionlog@roddenberry.com and join us on Facebook at missionlogpod. And please remember, your comments could be used on future installments of Gene-ology. If you have any material that might be of interest to us that isn't already in the Roddenberry archive, please drop us a line at missionlog@roddenberry.com. Our website is missionlogpodcast.com, and Missionlog Gene-ology is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment.
On the next Gene-ology, Taylor's Woman. Special thanks to consulting producers Matt Esposito, Homer Frizzell, Rand Hurl, Tom Kozak, Julie Miller, Mike Richards, Mike Schabel, Paul Shadwell, and David Takechi.
We'll be back next week with more of your favorite programs. This concludes our broadcast day.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.